Okay, so you can see here I'm working on my color wheel. I started with the primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, and I've only used those three paint tubes. I then mixed blue and yellow until I got a nice green color. Then I added a little bit of this color to a yellow until I came out with a yellow-green, and then I cleaned my brush and used the green here mixed with a little bit of blue to get something similar to a blue-green. And now I'm going to show you how I mix violet with just the red and the blue. So here are my gouaches, and here's plain blue and plain red. So whenever you're using gouache paint, get your paintbrush wet. I have one can here of dirty water, and then one of clean water here, and I even have a little rag that I can dry things off with, a little paper towel. But get your brush wet, and get a little bit of red and put it somewhere separately from where the red paint is itself. Pick up just a little bit of blue and mix this color and see what you get. Right now it's looking very brown. Okay, so a funny thing happened when I started to mix the red and the blue paints. I actually came up with this color, which as you can see is much more brown than anything else. So it turns out with the particular red and blue I was trying to use, that was vermilion and cerulean blue, wasn't working very well. So what I did instead is I tried a different red. In this case I used a crimson red and then a cerulean blue. And when I mixed them, I did get this nice little purplish color. Not perfect, but it gives us a good idea of a color somewhere between red and blue. So now that I've got a good purple in between my red and my blue, I'm going to go with my brush into the dirty water to clean it out, and then into the more clear water here, and mix a little bit of red. It's just a tiny bit of blue. And maybe it's still too red, add a little bit more blue. And now that looks like that might be it. Okay, red-violet. That's something you want to keep in mind when you're mixing these colors, that unless the colors are have the right balance of warm and cold, if they're just a little bit too yellow, have a little bit too much yellow in the red, or a little bit too much blue in the red, when you mix them you might actually get brown. And when you're mixing colors that are complementary on the color wheel, yellow and purple for instance, if they're the exact right hue of yellow and purple, you should be able to get gray by mixing those. And the same goes with red and green. Any two colors, blue and orange, opposite on the wheel, if you mix them carefully and they're the correct hue, they can cancel each other out and actually become gray. I also constantly move my paper so that it's working for me as well. The angle when I'm approaching the paper makes it easier for me to paint whatever direction of stroke I want. So I can move this paper around and around as I'm working. There is an example of the color wheel, and I did only use red, yellow, and blue to mix all these colors. However, as I explained a moment ago, I ended up using two different reds to get the right shades that I wanted.